Trouble for Democrats heading toward the midterm elections. Two high-ranking members of Congress are accused of violating ethics rules. Last week, Charles Rangel was charged with 13 violations. Now the focus is on Maxine Waters, who was officially charged by the House Ethics Committee yesterday. Senior White House correspondent Bill Plant has more.
The California Democrat is a member of the Financial Services Committee. She came under scrutiny after setting up a meeting with Treasury officials on behalf of a minority-owned bank, Boston-based One United, a bank to which her husband had financial ties. The bank ultimately got $12 million in bailout money. Waters maintains she did nothing wrong and so far has chosen to fight the charges rather than settle. With the charges already filed against Charlie Rangel of New York, there's now the possibility of 2 ethics trials beginning in September and lasting for weeks.
Count 13 conduct.
Rangel was charged last week with 13 ethics violations, including failing to report income, accepting an improper deal to rent a group of Harlem apartments, and using his staff to raise money for an institute named in his honor. 2 trials in the middle of Congress's campaign season could be very bad news for Democrats.
Let's remember 2006. It was a half-dozen major scandals involving Republican congressmen that cost Republicans control of Congress.
But so far, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is confident.
Are you nervous about November?
No, I'm not nervous.
That was Bill Plant reporting. Joining us now with more is Manu, Raju, congressional reporter for Politico. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Good morning. Well, so you just heard Nancy Pelosi say she's not nervous about November. Should she be in light of these allegations?
Well, it's definitely bad news for the party. I mean, they've been on the defensive for months. They've watched Republicans drive the message while they've struggled to sell what they've done, what they've accomplished to the American people. And now you're seeing 2 senior members of the House under this ethics investigation. It's a big distraction from their message, and it's going to be a divisive issue, especially if these trials play out in September when the party wants to be talking about jobs and wants to be putting Republicans on the defensive. Instead, you're going to see their party split in the House, and that's really going to hurt them in the final weeks of the campaign.
Well, do you think they're going to face trial, or will they work out a deal, possibly resign? What do you think will happen there?
Well, they both are indicating that they will not accept these charges. They both are vehemently denying them. Anything is possible, especially if they come under even more pressure from some of their closer allies who say, hey, look, for the good of the party, you need to step down or take some sort of responsibility for these charges. But right now they're showing no signs of doing it, and they're saying that they're ready to fight this out, even if it becomes a spectacle in September.
Well, Manu, why haven't more congressional Democrats spoken out against Rangel and Waters?
Well, they have a lot of goodwill. I mean, they both have served in Congress for a long time now. They're veteran members of the Congressional Black Caucus too, and they have and Charlie Rangel too, of course, was chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, very powerful committee. Right now, a lot of Democrats are saying, let's let this process play out instead of forcing them to, urging them to resign when a lot of members usually resist doing so and creating even a bigger distraction. Some are just trying to keep the powder dry and hope this works its way out without them getting involved.
And as you said, there hasn't been any wrongdoing admitted. So turning our attention now to Iraq, and President Obama announced Monday that combat operations will be over by the end of the month. The withdrawal of troops is fulfillment of a key campaign promise the president made. He says the homecomings are on schedule, but warned the U.S. mission in Iraq is not yet over.
Violence in Iraq continues to be near the lowest it's been in years. And next month, we will change our military mission from combat to supporting and training Iraqi security forces.
So, Manu, the question again is, how does this announcement impact the November elections?
Well, this is, the Democratic base has been increasingly frustrated with the way that the president has waged the war in Afghanistan, the troop buildup there. And as you saw last week in the House, 102 Democrats voted against spending more money both in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that's an increase over last year by about 70 Democrats. The president here on Iraq wants to take credit, wants to say, hey, look, I delivered on my campaign promise to bring this war to its conclusion. and they hope it energizes the party's base, which has been dispirited by the ongoing conflict in Afghanistan.
Okay, about 50,000 troops will remain in Iraq. I mean, that's cutting back quite a bit. We just heard the president say their mission will be to train security forces. Are Iraqis ready to take the lead on security operations?
Well, that's definitely the question. Of course, there was an election held there in March, and since then, it's been hard for the government has been, they've been in an impasse, the politicians there, in trying to form a government. And the Obama administration says that, hey, you know, if anything, if there are problems with the forming of the government, if violence does flare up from this after this drawdown of troops, there will still be these 50,000 troops left there for any contingencies that arise. So, you know, it remains to be seen whether this drawdown will either facilitate efforts to create a government or make things harder.
Okay, but the bigger deadline comes in December of 2011. That is when all U.S. forces are scheduled to be out of Iraq. Is that a realistic goal?
Well, right now the administration says it is. Of course, if we've seen through the course of this war that violence can erupt at any time, and it could change. It can change the calculations from a year out. So a year is a long time. Right now, the administration says that that's what they're going to do, but I guess we'll have to just wait and see.
Manu, Raju from Politico, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.